During the night of August 8, 1963, a train tearing through the English countryside was targeted for a payload equivalent to £67 million today. Yet the team that intercepted it walked away with the cash without firing a single shot. Their target was the Royal Mail's traveling post office, a highly guarded mobile sorting facility making its routine overnight run from Glasgow to London. To pull this off, the crew didn't rely on brute force. They executed an operation built entirely on stolen government intelligence. The architect of the plan was Bruce Reynolds. He operated with a distinct advantage, an unidentified senior security officer within the Royal Mail who was feeding him classified operational data. That insider provided two crucial pieces of information. First, because the previous weekend was a bank holiday, the train carried roughly 10 times its normal payload, totaling £3 million in cash. Second, the specific carriages equipped with electronic security alarms were temporarily out of service. To transport the massive volume of cash, the mail system swapped in an unprotected reserve carriage designated for high-value packages. Decades before digital networks existed, Reynolds used insider knowledge to identify a specific vulnerability in the Royal Mail's logistics system and timed his strike accordingly. At 3 a.m., the gang manipulated the railway signals, blocking the green light with a glove and forcing the red light on. As the train ground to a halt, the gang immediately severed the trackside telephone cables, isolating the crew from the outside world. Several men stormed the engine car. When the 58-year-old train driver, Jack Mills, tried to resist, one of the attackers struck him over the head with an iron rod, knocking him unconscious. They then hit an unexpected obstacle. The gang had brought along a retired railway engineer to move the heavy train, but he panicked because he didn't know how to operate this specific modern engine. To keep their heist plan alive, they had to revive Mills and physically force him back to the controls. Under threat, Mills drove the isolated engine and the high-value carriage 1 kilometer down the track, stopping above an extraction point called Bridego Bridge. By triggering a simple red light, the gang weaponized the railway's unrestricted safety protocols to stop the train exactly where they needed it. Once positioned over the bridge, the crew had roughly 15 minutes to act. Forming a human chain, they moved 120 heavy mail bags down the embankment, transferring nearly 2.5 tons of cash in near total silence. They loaded the haul into an Austin Lodestar heavy transport vehicle, waiting on the dark road beneath the tracks. As they prepared to flee, one of the robbers gave the tied-up postal workers a strict warning: do not move or call for help for exactly 30 minutes. That single spoken time frame gave investigators a precise mathematical window, inadvertently exposing the scale of their escape route. Police reverse-engineered that 30-minute warning. Assuming a heavy truck driving on dark country roads, they deduced the gang's hideout had to be located within a 50-kilometer radius of Bridego Bridge. Hunkered down in their safe house, the gang monitored police radio frequencies. Hearing that a dragnet was closing in on their zone, they divided the stolen cash and fled days ahead of schedule. To destroy the evidence, they paid an associate to burn the property to the ground. Instead, the man pocketed the money and disappeared, leaving the site untouched. A local neighbor noticed suspicious activity and called it in. With the safe house left intact, that tip led police directly to the door of Leatherslade Farm. The tight operational security they maintained for months collapsed the moment they outsourced their cleanup to an unreliable human variable. Inside the farmhouse, investigators found empty mailbags and supplies. The gang had wiped down almost every surface, but they overlooked a board game they had played to pass the time, using the stolen money as props. Scotland Yard technicians extracted fingerprints directly off the Monopoly pieces and cross-referenced them with national criminal databases. The matches were immediate. Within days, 14 of the 16 gang members were identified and eventually sentenced to 30 years in prison. But there was a heavy human cost. Jack Mills, the train driver, never fully recovered from his injuries, passing away just 7 years later. The mechanical execution of the heist was precise, yet it was unraveled by a simple family board game. As for the senior government insider who provided the operational details, his identity remains a secret to this day.